Good morning and welcome to Unity of Birmingham Live. And if you're watching online, please feel free to join us too. In the name and the nature of the living one, we declare that the place in which we stand is holy. And in this space, we remember who we are. We remember that we are safe. We remember that we are divine love. We remember that we are courage and strength. And we remember that at our deepest core, that we are an embodiment of the presence and the power of God. We know in this moment that God is all there is, and that anything that shows up as an alternative to the goodness of God is a counterfeit, and we dethrone it. We dethrone sickness, and in its place we affirm healing. We dethrone lack, and in its place we affirm abundance. And we know in this moment that those who walk through those doors will have and hear that in which they need in order to survive, and not just survive, but thrive and live an abundant, prosperous life. And it's in the name and the nature of the living one we affirm this prayer consciousness, and we say, and so it is.
Good morning, Unity Birmingham.
Good morning.
It's great to be with you this morning, and I love sharing music with the family. So I'm going to invite you to experience this song, which is called Deliver Us. And it's a song that we've coupled with a music video, and hopefully we will bless you with this song today. The sky was blue, the sun was bright, and the streets were full and gay. It all changed in an instant, felt to me like Judgment Day. My eyes filled with tears from the images of suffering. I fell to my knees and began to pray. Deliver us, O Lord. Please deliver us. Deliver us, O Lord. Please deliver us and restore our faith. Yesterday, as I watched the evening news, a world filled with suffering left me feeling sad and blue. My eyes filled with tears from the images of suffering. I fell to my knees and began to pray. Deliver us, O Lord. Please deliver us. Deliver us, O Lord. Please deliver us and restore our faith. Tomorrow is not promised. Only love can conquer hate. Hope lives on in sorrow. We all must fall on our knees and begin to pray. Deliver us, O Lord. Please deliver us. Deliver us, O Lord. Please deliver us and restore our faith. teach you. It's called We've Come This Far by Faith, Leaning on the Everlasting Arms. We've come this far by faith, leaning on the everlasting arms. That would be the part you sing. Leaning on the air, and I sing. We've come this far by faith, leaning on the everlasting arms. That's the part you sing. Leaning on the, one more time. We've come this far by faith, leaning on the everlasting. Come this far by faith, leaning on the everlasting arms.
Good morning. Good morning. Beautiful people.
Yes.
It's interesting because I never know exactly where I might go with a meditation, but Jesse's initial prayer was about oneness, which has been my life path for 40 years. It's known as Sufism. So I start with an invocation toward the one, the perfection of love, harmony, and beauty, the only being united with all the illuminated souls who form the embodiment of the messenger, the spirit of guidance. And all these words are really an expression of the same thing. That there is no separation, the illusion that we are not one overwhelms us in our lives, and this is the purpose of spiritual practice, to enable us to remove ourselves from all of that influence. So Sufis have a practice called zikr, which basically means remembrance, and it's remembering the truth of awakening, the truth of our beings, the truth that we are not separate, that all that we perceive out there as other is not, which is hard because there are those whose words, deeds, and actions we certainly don't align with, and yet this is very difficult to believe, but it's part of our own beings because there is no separation. So this practice, you can say it with me or you can just listen. Illahu. And these words sound very strange. They are Arabic. Ilah is a negation. It's a negating all that is outward, all that illusion that wealth, fame, and fortune is so important. It's nice, but it's not. It's not really, as we would say, where it's at. Ilah. Allah. Allah is the one. So the purpose, the real way to move towards awakening is by repetition. All mystical paths use repetition. That's what chanting is. And the vibrations of the sound have an actual psychic effect, even physical effect. And who is a word that was not ever spoken beyond mystical schools until really about 100 years ago. Who is the secret, the answer? It's almost like God as the only being whispering back to us, reminding us that it is us. And all these words just sound like a lot of paradox. But the experience of the play of the sound is where transformation can begin. And the movement of the head brings the projection of the third eye energy center into the heart center. And the heart center is really the center of love, of awareness, of awakening. And then the who is like I said, the answer. The cherry on top of the sundae. Allah. Illallah. 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 Allahu. 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 Hu. 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 Amen.
I see the pain behind your smile. I hear the words you hold inside. I know just what you're going through. I'm here for you. When you feel sad and all alone, when you don't feel like going on, lift your head, keep moving through. I'm here. you. No matter what time of day, no matter what comes our way, no matter what you're going through, I'm here for you. Ooh, when your blue skies turn shades of gray, and you just can't seem to find your way, remember to call my name, I'm here for you. And when the rain starts to pour, and you feel like you can't take no more, don't give up, don't give in, I'm here for you. No matter what time of day, no matter what comes our way, no matter what we're going through, I'm here for you. When everything's gone astray, I'll make it all okay. Believe in me and you will see. I'm all you'll ever need. Just fall on your knees. I'm here through thick and thin until the very end. No matter what time of day, no matter what comes our way, no matter what you're going through, I'm here. No matter what time of day, no matter what comes our way, no matter what you're going through, I'm here for you.
Put our hands together for Dr. Julian. Always one more time. Yes, yes. Oh, that was beautiful, beautiful, and enriching. Right there in that same consciousness. Don't go anywhere. Let's do something with that. Repeat this affirmation with me. The race was not given to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, but to those that can endure until the end. Take a few seconds for yourself. Take a few seconds for yourself and just sit in that anointing. And if you're watching online, sit in that energy. We speak a special blessing over your life if you're watching online. But take a second for yourself. Anyone that you are carrying, let them go. Give life back her children. If you brought anyone with you other than yourself, put them down. If you're thinking about anyone other than yourself in this moment, unthink that thought. Put down bill, jobs, kids, nieces, nephews, mom, dad, sister, brother, Carrie. In this moment, no one but yourself. And that's hard to do, not because yourself is heavy, but because we're caretakers and we care for everyone else. But in this moment, just concentrate on you. In this space where you and God exist, not as separate beings, where it's difficult to tell where God is and where you begin, in this space of oneness, in this space of peace, declare with me that the space where you are sitting and occupying is holy, that the space where you're sitting and occupying is sacred, and the space where you are sitting and occupy is safe, safe from drama, safe from fussing and fighting and arguments and trying and striving and ambition and not enough and everything that is not the word or the consciousness of God. Only God, Allah, That is the only thing that exists in this space. And if it is not God or does not know itself as God, take a deep breath and push it out of this space. Close the door. Only you and God in this space. And I want you to remember this moment, because this is the holiness and the safety of consciousness and of awareness that I want you to take with you. So when you go about your day, you can remind yourself that the place and the space where I am standing is holy, that the place and the space where I am standing is sacred, and that I am enough as I am. I don't have to be, I don't have to force, I don't have to do, I don't have to coerce, like me, don't like me. I am enough as I am. I like me. And my best is enough. And that I am enough. I'm smart, I'm brave, I'm beautiful, I'm courageous. I am love and I am loving. And that the world desires me. When I stick my foot out in traffic, cars stop. Know this truth about yourself, that you are worthy, however you have to say it. And I want you to take this good feeling with you into Monday and carry it through Saturday, knowing that every time you open your eyes, the world says hello right back at you. I was waiting on you to wake up so we can go have some fun. Take a deep breath, come back to the room, and say, and so it is. Clap your hands for yourself in this moment. I am so happy to be able to come in corporate worship with you. How good and pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is amazing to be able to come together. We've been talking a lot about these psychological terms, self-regulation. Self-regulation is just me staying home by myself. I got it. I'm good. I don't need nobody. I ain't got no problems with nobody. I'm just on the porch chilling. But there's sometimes when you need people, it's like, I'm okay, but I need to be around some others. I'm not feeling vampiric. It's not like I want to suck you dry. I don't want to take all your energy, Brother Alim, but I need to sit by you for a second. You know, I just need to see another person. I need to see someone who looks like me, who has laughed and lived and breathed and cried. I just need to see another human. I'm tired of seeing robots and machines, and there's no offense to our computers. We love our computers, but they get warm, but they're not people. They get warm because there's too much electricity moving through them. Sometimes you need a person and not a blanket. And so when we decide to come together in unity and share the same space, something changes. We receive something that we could not have received before. And so for those that are gathered together here, I bless you. I really do. Put your hands together for yourself. And I am happy to see you. And for those that are watching online in our Unity of Birmingham live experience, we are grateful to see you too, knowing that our ministry prospers because of your love and your donations and your tithing. We continue to prosper and thrive. And so we bless you for all that you do and for all that you give. In fact, do me a favor, guys. Point your hand at the camera like we do every week. Let's speak a special blessing to those that are watching online. Say this with me. Divine love through me blesses all that you have, all that you are, all that you give, and all that you receive. And so it is. Put your hands together with me for those that are watching online. Yes. Because we want them to understand that this is an interactive experience, and we're grateful for them taking the time to not scroll. Because y'all know social media is so interesting. All of the people. You ever looked on social media and felt like you raised other people's kids? I remember them when they were 2 and now they're 16. I remember all the pictures. Don't look at me in that tone of voice. Y'all know y'all raised other people's kids. It's like, oh my God, I remember that. Y'all like, I don't be on social media like that. Nobody but you, Rev. Scrolling through, looking at other people's stuff, all up in everybody's business. But we are grateful for those that do take the time, because let me tell you, attention is the new currency. It really is. And energy flows where attention goes. And so we feed from the thing that we pay attention to. So if your attention right now is on Unity of Birmingham, we're grateful for you and we're grateful for your support. We're grateful for our prayer chaplains who are standing by virtually. We do have Mother Sharon and Mother Evelyn And we do have Mother Joan, and y'all forgive me because stream of consciousness will make you forget the name of your own mother. So sometimes I say prayer chaplains because I forgot their names. Not because I don't love them, but because in the mix of that moment where you got the words flowing, it's like, oh my God, what are the name of my prayer chaplains? But they are standing by. So if you're watching right now, please put your prayer requests in the comment section. Our prayer chaplains and our media team will respond momentarily. And in this space, while we're having this conversation and we're focusing on us and we're focusing on the energy that's in the room, can you guys agree with me that we are at our deepest self and our core healed? Can y'all agree that with me? Because healing is a very, very powerful energy. And one of the things that I've noticed about healing is that healing happens in stages. You can say that you are declaring at your deepest self that you are the healing energy of God, but your body still hasn't caught up to that declaration. And that does not mean that you're lying. You're not faking it till you make it. You realize that even though your body may not have caught up to your mind, but in your mind, you know that healing is your natural right. And you declare it every day. So for those that are listening right now, I want you to know we're speaking a special affirmation of healing to you right now. And we're holding the space that your body will catch up to your consciousness in its own time. And in the meantime, while you're listening to this affirmation of healing consciousness, one of the things I want you to do if you're watching online is to handle yourself with ease and handle yourself with grace. Say this with me. I will handle myself with grace. Because by handling yourself with grace, this is how you allow God to have time to work its perfect work in your life. Because when we want a thing, we want it now. When we want a thing, we want it now. We got to have it, and it has to come our way. And if it doesn't, God help those that are around us. So by waiting patiently, like scripture says, I will wait patiently on the Lord. Or wait on the Lord. Be of good courage, and he will strengthen thy heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord. And when I use the pronoun he, the sacred text doesn't define gender per se or assign gender to God. So when we're talking he, she, they, it, however you see or experience the presence, that's never an absence. Feel free to insert your favorite pronoun in that sacred text. But when we wait patiently on the Lord, we allow our bodies to catch up to the state in which we already are in consciousness. And y'all know what that's like. Sometimes you have a vision for your life and you see life working out this way, but things in the physical world, they're just taking their time. And that's the truth. They're taking time. In consciousness, there is no time. In your imagination, you can imagine yourself as 2 years old. You can time travel to yourself at 75, and you can go back and forth, and there's nothing constraining you in mind. Say this with me. The all is mind, and the universe is mental. From the Kabbalion. Wonderful sacred text of spiritual philosophy written by the three Hermetic masters. It says the all is mind and the universe is mental. But in consciousness, there is no limitation. There's no limitation in your imagination, which is why Neville Goddard said that Jesus Christ is your own wonderful human imagination. Well, how do you know Jesus is an example of imagination? He could take a loaf of bread and multiply it and feed thousands of people. The only faculty that we have within our very being is the faculty of imagination. So to the degree that you are allowing yourself to be free in your mind and your intelligence and your emotions and your psyche, you go from being limited to limitless. Say this with me. If I can think it up, I can think it down. This is the truth. If it originates as an idea, it's a possibility, which is why the work isn't to force and smith and push. I think I reached my help. It's not to force and reach and push your way through the earth, but it's to take your time and dream. Take 10 minutes out of your day, each day, and dream. Imagine the life that you wish you would live. And this life doesn't have to be some extravagant life. Sometimes you got to take your consciousness and use that as the prayer chamber. And you have to take 10 minutes out of your day and imagine things that currently exist in your life getting better. Don't even imagine anything new. Take the stuff that's right now in your life and imagine it getting better. Imagine it loosening up. And imagine you softening up. Especially if you're doing that kind of imaginal work and you're still angry and upset that things haven't progressed the way you wanted them to. So see yourself in that imagination chamber softening and relaxing as life is doing its perfect work, because things do have to take time because these physical bodies are bound by time. But up here, I'm limitless, which means that I already have a head start, literally, because it's occurring in my headspace. Spirit has given you a head start by endowing you with the faculty of imagination. Or in unity speak, you are a divine idea in the mind of God. Say this with me. I am a divine idea in the mind of God. Because you were created in the image and likeness of God. And if you were created in the image and likeness of God, it means that you were created in God's imagination. So imagine the consciousness of God. God went to sleep. You appeared. If you are a divine idea in God's mind, God closes its eyes and looks within and you appear. So when you close your eyes, it's your job to see only God. Neville Goddard said that, and this is controversial and heretical, but I feel like I say it in this safe space. Neville Goddard said that man is God asleep and God is man awakened. So when we go to sleep and we close our eyes to the outside world, only God is who we see. And anything that steps into this sacred place, this sacred space, Moses has a conversation with God and says, I want to see you. God says, Moses, you can't see my face. If you see my face, you're going to die, brother. I love you, but no man has seen my face and lived. But if you want to, I can hide you in the cleft of the rock. I'm going to put you right behind this piano. And then I'm going to pass by and my shadow will pass by. You'll be able to see my hind parts. But check this out. Old Testament. No man has seen the face of God and lived the way he has been living. That's what that metaphysically means. Meaning you can't have an encounter with God and be the same. You can't have an encounter with the presence of God and things stay the same, which is why whenever trouble shows up, you demonstrate God. If you're watching online, when trouble shows up, demonstrate God. But they called me such and such. That's all right. They didn't realize they were calling God. When they give you, you know what? You give them God. And if you give the world the thing in which it needs, then the world will be satisfied. How you know? Because it'll stop. You're in the middle of a bad argument and they're calling you such and such and such and such and such. And you say, Jesus, 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 Jesus. They'll stop then. Say a holy thing. People get scared. What's wrong with you? Jesus, 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 Jesus. Man, I'm gone. There's some tricks. You are empowered. If you take your life seriously, but not literally, you'll realize you have wiggle room and you have flexibility. Say this with me, no more drama. That's the title of today's message, if I can wrap this up together. We're talking about ending the series of No Stress October, and we're moving into November, and November series is All Is Well, which we'll get into next week. But the way to eliminate drama in your life is to look for good. To look for God, because if you see God, then the world can see it. How is that, preacher? If I see God, then I'm going to demonstrate that in which I am focusing on. I'm going to demonstrate that in which I'm focusing on. So if I am focusing on God, and God has all of my attention, and goodness has all of my attention, the Apostle Paul said, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are of a good report, think on these things. In other words, don't bring me no bad news. Because I don't want to hear it. Stop them at the gate. And guess what? You have the power to do it. If you will, lift your right hands. Say this with me. I am empowered to kick out of my life anybody that I don't want to be there. And so it is. So when bad news shows up at your doorstep, you But I want to tell you, that's all right. I already know. Oh, you don't talk to them? No, but I already know. Well, how you know? I can tell by your energy right now. You too excited, so I know you got gossip. Because don't nobody get that excited unless they got some gossip. And guess what? I don't want to hear that today. I want to hear something good. Tell me something good. Give me something good. I want to have fun with life. I want to play. I want life to be like Play-Doh. I want to be able to mold it and twist it into whatever I want it to be. I don't want a castle made of sand. I want something that I can play with and sit there and be like, that's good. And when I'm tired of it, I can go make something else and I can still use the same material. Because this is how we enter into life. If you enter into life playfully. Now, folks say, I ain't nothing to play with. What I'm saying is enter into life creatively. This is how you minimize the drama, because you reorient yourself to your life. In other words, you realize this is a thing that's showing up in my world, and I may like it or I may not like it. But my life is how I choose to see it. It don't mean that if my hand is on fire, I'm going to say my hand isn't on fire. No. I'm not talking about spiritual bypassing. I'm talking about seeing life as it is, but then also having the courage to see life better than what it can be. That is the spiritual work. It's for me to look at that camera and say, this is a camera, but then I see its potential, that it has the potential, even though it only costed hundreds of dollars, it has the potential to reach thousands of people. That the thing that shows up in my life that declares its own worth and value through the eyes of God, I can look back at it and see that it's worth more than even it's aware of. Because beauty is in the eye of the beholder only if the beholder continues to see beauty. So I value my life based on what I'm looking at. If I see God and I see only God, then I'm only going to see God in my life. But if I see pain and suffering and misery in my life, it's because that's what I'm looking at. So I change the way that I'm looking at things and the things that I'm looking at change. I Jedi mind trick my own self. I literally pick myself up and turn myself around. I create more space. I create more room, and I do all of that up here. So when you're sitting outside on the porch and folks say, what you doing? You've been sitting out there for a long time. And you say, oh, I'm doing a few things, and they have no idea you're doing 1,000 things in consciousness. When you're just sitting and you're watching TV and you're having a conversation with yourself, by yourself, to yourself, and those that walk by, pass by you and be like, why you got that funny look on your face? Are you all right? And they have no idea. You're recreating a whole entire universe. You're recreating a whole entire planet that will come into manifestation in 6 to 8 months, or in 12 to 16 months, or in 16 to 18 months. This is the power that you've been given. It's the power to create. It's the power to change. Because you are a divine idea in the mind of God, you are all imagination. You are all creativity. And you are not limited based on the circumstances that show up in your life that say, you can't make me move. You can't do anything to me. This is what it is. This is over. You are stuck. You're not going anywhere. Say this with me. I am empowered.
I am empowered.
So every day we choose. This is how we declare no more drama. We realize that drama is a play. So it's supposed to have a beginning, middle, and end. Drama is supposed to have a climax and also falling action. Drama is supposed to have rising conflict. That's why the best movies are comedy tragedies or tragi-comedies. They're not all funny. They're not all tragic either. They have a little bit of suspense and they keep you on your toes. That's your life. You are the playmaster. You have the pen, even if you decide to give it to somebody else. So it's up to you in this moment to declare this space is holy and it's a creative writing space. And you are going to take back your ink pen. If you're watching online, take your pen back. Grab an ink pen and begin the process of journaling. Recreate your life and reorient yourself to the people in your world, especially if they're going to be around for a while. Well, they're going to be around. I might as well make them useful. Find something for them to do if they're going to be around. If you're going to be around and this is who you are and this is how you're going to be, well, I'm going to make this work for me, God. Can't say that when in church. But you make it work for you. In the words of Myrtle Fillmore, you realize that you are a child of God and you don't inherit sickness. So this isn't a challenge. This is an opportunity for me to demonstrate who and what I am. Myrtle Fillmore in Unity's history has said that she grew up sickly, had tuberculosis, and couldn't figure out a cure. And one day she heard a prophet and a metaphysician by the name of E.B. Weeks who looked at her and said, woman, you are a child of God and you do not inherit sickness. And she was like, cool, thank you. She went home, created the empty chair technique before Gestalt psychology invented it in the 1960s. She put an empty chair beside her and she said, in this chair, God sits beside me. And she had a conversation with the presence of God. She placed one hand on her chest, spoke healing to her chest, and went through her organs and called out to her organs who and what they really were and spoke love into them. What we call in Qigong that good stuff when you really do that work. And she processed like that over and over again, day in and day out, until her body caught up where she was in consciousness. And according to history, she never experienced those symptoms again. Because of the creative capacity that you have as a soul, as a living, breathing embodiment of the presence of God, you would be surprised as to what you can do. Your life may not change in the way that you think it'll change, but by having the courage to look at it differently, you minimize the casualties and you minimize the problems that it could become. It's like having a goal. It's best that I have this goal because this goal gets me moving versus me allowing life to just do whatever it wants to do. Y'all follow what I'm saying? So when you take your power back, you realize you have agency. This is what the presence of God does. The presence of God empowers you to have and to be and to do. So we go and do something. So when we wake up in the morning, it's not like, oh, I got to get up. It's what does life want to do in me today? What does life want to do with me today? And when things show up outside of me, I take my power back by realizing in me is holy. In me is safety. In this space is the presence and the power of all that is good. So anything that shows up in my world that doesn't come into agreement with this space cannot dwell in my presence. Because I am a royal priesthood. I am an embodiment of the presence and the power of God. So if there's confusion in the room, it won't be there when I get there. Because somebody got to demonstrate God. Because adding more drama to drama does not lead to peace. So to get to peace, you got to become peace. And if it doesn't exist in the room, then what do we say? Let there be peace on earth. And let it begin with me. Take your power back. And then you start building your life one conversation at a time, one moment at a time. Yeah, there'll be setbacks. You don't have to get it all right. It ain't got to be perfect. But guess what? It works for me. And you ain't got to explain nothing to nobody. Say this with me. I ain't got to explain nothing to nobody. And that is the word of the Lord to you today. Take that information and receive it. Know that you don't have to fight and coerce the presence and the power, because it is the power that worketh for good in you, with you, as you, that you are empowered, and you are empowered with a sense of agency. That courage is your natural right. When you are weak, you can become strong by affirming it. And when you are too strong, you can affirm that I need to soften. But either way, your life is getting better. I know it because I see God in you. I look around this room, I see God in you. And let me tell you, the presence of God is constantly expanding and constantly evolving. It's evolving and getting to know itself in brand new ways. And I'm holding the prayer consciousness that God in you is getting to know itself as God, through you, with you, as you. Thank you for listening. Peace and blessing.
Thank you. Oh, what a wonderful message. Thank you, Jesse. Okay, November 16th, after the service, we have another opportunity with Reverend Jesse in a discussion on spiritual Q&A to answer any questions that you have regarding spiritual and religious beliefs. So come with your questions. Do you want to add anything to that, Jesse?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. The goal for November 16th is to get information on workshops to present for the community. So come with your questions, because I'll use those to create workshops. The Gnostic workshops were created based on needs and desires of the community. And so in January, I'm hosting another Gnostic workshop. I believe it's on the second one, and it's going to be January 29th, 12:30 to 2:30. It's going to be on the Gnostic Gospel of Judas. If you didn't know that there was a gospel attributed to Judas Iscariot, there is one. And things did not go down the way our apostolic fathers said it went down about Judas. So make sure you catch that workshop.
I'm looking forward to that. Okay, prayer chaplaincy training, December 4th, 12:30 to 2:30. And on that, you do not have to commit to being a prayer chaplain. I'm planning on attending because I want to learn more about prayer. I don't know that I want to be a prayer chaplain. So it's open to everybody. We have a high tea at Hassinger Daniels Mansion, November 12th, 1:30 to 3. Dress up, wear hats, bring tea sandwiches, deviled eggs, and other sophisticated finger foods and fruits. Pastries such as fancy cookies, cheesecake, and fine chocolates. No barbecue or potato chips, please. The host is Sheila Chafin, and she will provide the serving dishes. Everyone is invited except for children under the age of 8. Okay, our offertory. We are here because of you. We are all volunteers. So with gratitude and love in our hearts, hold your tithe in your hands and let's pray. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give in love, and I trust God. The offering bowls are in the back, and those of you online can go to unitybham.org/giving. Okay, let's stand for the peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was there to be. God is our Father, brothers all are we. Let me walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
The prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds us.
I am light of God.
The love of God enfolds us.
I am the love of God.
The power of God protects us.
I am the power of God.
The presence of God watches over us.
I am the presence of God.
Wherever we are, God is. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. Thank y'all. Don't forget about the bowls in the back.